You know, some trips are just vacations, but others are a promise. For four high school friends, one last trip together was supposed to be it, the perfect final memory before life inevitably pulled them apart. But when a promise goes unkept for 10 whole years, it can start to fester. And when they finally try to make it right, they find out they're not just running toward a destination, they're running away from a truth they buried a long, long time ago.
It all starts with this feeling, right? This sense of urgency. This was never just about a vacation. No, this was a desperate attempt to just freeze time, to hold on to a version of themselves and their friendship that they knew deep down was about to vanish forever. That one single moment held the entire weight of their shared history.
So to really get what's going on here, we have to rewind. Let's go back to the beginning, to four friends who were absolutely inseparable. Each one of them was described as a chaotic masterpiece, and together, they found this space where all their insecurities and all their biggest dreams could just exist.
And here's the crew. First, you've got Tae-jung, the brilliant leader who aced every single test, but let's be real, had the heart of a total drama queen. Then there's Bok, who hated studying so much he literally perfected the art of sleeping with his eyes open. You've got Yeon-min, the goofy, kind of average-looking charmer who had this massive dream of becoming a world-famous DJ. And finally, Do-jin, the big-hearted giant whose dreams took a turn from basketball to art after just one afternoon in a studio.
So they had this perfect plan, right? One last adventure to see their DJ idol in Thailand before life split them up for good. But of course, fate had other ideas. A simple pit stop on the way to the airport, a bathroom break that went on just a little too long, and boom. The bus was gone, their flight was gone, and all they had left was a promise. Next time.
But next time, man, that's a dangerous phrase, isn't it? Soon after, Yeon-min's family moved overseas, and the years just started to stack up. 10 years flew by. Life took over, schedules filled up, and that promise, it became a ghost, just haunting the edges of their separate adult lives. Okay, flash forward a decade. A news report announces that their idol is doing one final tour, and guess where? Back in Thailand. This news, plus one of their friends finally getting out of the hospital, sparks a reunion. The goal is simple. They are finally going to take that trip, no matter what it takes.
So what happened to our ambitious leader, Tae-jung, the guy who dreamed of being president? Well, he's now a secretary for a politician. And his main job? He manages his boss's completely fake hunger strikes, secretly slipping him energy bars while the guy pretends to starve for public sympathy. It's just a daily insult to every ideal he ever had.
And this really gets to the heart of their new mission. Do-jin. He was once the freest, most childlike soul of the group, but he suffered a severe mental breakdown. Now his memory is like a broken film reel, and his grip on reality is incredibly fragile. He's the very reason they have to go on this trip, and also the reason they probably shouldn't.
So when Do-jin begs them to finally go to Thailand, he has one very strange condition. He insists on bringing along a life-size mannequin, and he's dressed it in their friend Yeon-min's old clothes. It's a really shocking request, and it just shows you how desperately he's trying to hold on to the past.
So with one friend so fragile, another one who's basically a monk in training, and a third made entirely of plastic, yeah, you just knew this trip was destined for absolute chaos from the second they landed in Thailand.
I mean, their trip becomes a masterclass in misfortune. They get arrested for riding in a stolen car like minutes after leaving the airport. Tae-jung's longtime admirer, Snail, who actually followed them there, literally swallows a phone number another woman tries to give him. They get tricked, they start a massive club brawl, and poor Snail gets tased by the police. It's a full-blown international incident in the making.
And get this, in the middle of all this chaos, Do-jin is just posting selfies of everything online. Their disaster of a trip goes viral back home, and he accidentally becomes an influencer with over 1 million new followers. This is, of course, an absolute nightmare for the politically minded Tae-jung, whose career is now hanging by a thread.
But then they get one perfect moment. At the music festival, their idol actually spots them in the crowd and invites Do-jin up on stage. So he goes up there, carrying the mannequin with him, and for just a few minutes, Do-jin gets to live out his and Yeon-min's shared dream. Everything is perfect. They found what they came for, just pure, unfiltered joy. But that fleeting moment of joy, it leads them straight into a nightmare. Right after the show, they're drugged and kidnapped by an organ harvesting ring.
And as they're trapped and tied up in a warehouse, the truth they've all been running from for a decade can no longer be contained. So after a police raid, the warehouse is on fire, and as it's burning down around them, Do-jin refuses to leave. He's screaming for them to save Yeon-min. Pushed to the absolute brink, Tae-jung is forced to shatter his friend's delusion with one devastatingly simple sentence.
You see, the trip never just failed because they missed a bus. It ended in a horrific tragedy, a truth so unbelievably painful that one of them had to rewrite reality itself just to survive it. So here's what really happened. After they missed that bus, it actually circled back for them. But just moments after they all got on, it crashed. Yeon-min's leg was broken, trapping him inside. And before anyone could get back to him, the bus exploded.
And with that horrible truth finally out in the open, we finally understand the source of Do-jin's decade of trauma. It wasn't just grief, it was guilt. In a moment of just pure animal terror, he ran. He left his friend behind. And he has carried that single split-second decision with him every single day for 10 years.
But faced with this truth, Do-jin does something absolutely extraordinary. He runs back into the burning warehouse to save the mannequin, the symbol of his friend and the symbol of his guilt. And in that moment, by running headfirst into the flames, he finally stops running from his past.
Back home, the chaos of their trip starts to settle into a new, healthier reality. After a snail literally stops a plane on the runway for him, Tae-jung finally accepts her love. Bok returns to his spiritual training at the temple, and Do-jin, who's finally starting to heal, gets a new job at a travel agency. They didn't just survive the trip, they were reborn by it.
Their first trip together, it finally became their last goodbye. Standing there at Yeon-min's grave, the three friends are at last able to mourn properly, not as broken individuals, but together. They can finally forgive themselves and remember the friend they lost not with guilt, but with love.
And that really brings us to the core question of this whole story. It shows us that sometimes the most chaotic, disastrous journey imaginable is the only one that can lead us back to ourselves. It asks us not just how we grieve, but how we honor the people we've lost, by living more honestly, more bravely, and always, always together.